everyone. We're Maren and Angela, and this is Homeschool Unrefined. Welcome to our spring and summer 2022 season. This whole season is going to be a treat for you. As some of you know, we've been creating this podcast since 2016. At that time, some of our kids were in single digits, playdates dominated, and we had this idea to create a community around keeping homeschool simple, real, and fun.
For this season, we've gone back through all 5 years of episodes to find those that have been the most loved and downloaded. We've compiled them into a list of our top 20 favorites, and we'll be counting them down for you this season. You are definitely going to want to stick around to hear which episodes made it to the top.
We're really proud of these episodes and wanted to share them because they're at the heart of what Homeschool Unrefined is all about. We wanted to go back and remind ourselves of the work we've done and the community that's been built around these ideas.
You might feel some nostalgia when you hear the old music and our old intro. There will also probably be some old promotions and some links that are no longer relevant. We've come a long way as podcasters, yet the messages in these episodes are timeless.
If you're looking for new episodes of Homeschool Unrefined, join our Patreon community. For just $5 a month, you'll always have a new episode in your podcast feed. We are continuously recording new content and love sharing our lives with you there. Consider joining for $5 a month. You will be not only nodding your head along with us every week, but you'll also find a group of amazing people. Plus, you'll be supporting our message. You can join us at patreon.com/homeschoolunrefined. Okay, here are our most loved episodes.
You're listening to Homeschool Unrefined. I'm Maren.
And I'm Angela. Let's encourage each other, laugh, and get real about homeschool.
Welcome to the podcast where we keep homeschool simple, real, and fun. You've got episode 55, where we give ourselves credit. Or, the way we like to say it is, what we do.
Yeah, because we did what we don't do a couple of times. So we wanted to do what we do. And then we laugh kind of inappropriately. Too long.
Well, really, it all goes back to the Friends episode with Chandler.
Yeah.
Who just loves throwing that joke in there all the time.
Yep.
What we do. But really, seriously though, we all do so much.
Yep.
And this is going to be the episode to give ourselves, all of us, credit for all the things we do.
Yep. Yeah, so we are back from break, which is so exciting. And over break, we got some new listeners, and we wanted to welcome you if you're brand new to our podcast. We're so glad you're here. Thank you for being here. And if you've been around for a while, we love having you, and we love hearing from you on social media or in your private messages, and we just thank you for that. And if you have been around a while and you are enjoying our podcast, we would love it if you would share with a friend who you think might enjoy it, or share it on social media, or we would love an iTunes review.
Yes, that really does help us out.
It helps other people to find our show.
It helps other people find us.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. And I just want to add, I love hearing the comments from people and just the encouragement. So thank you so much. I feel like you are all our new friends.
Yeah.
So I love that we all have just this vision and this excitement for the way we homeschool in common. And it's just so meaningful.
Yes.
Another easy way to support us is just use our Amazon link to go shopping on Amazon. We have an actual Amazon shop that includes a lot of the things we mentioned on the show, some of our favorite things and some of our guests' favorite things. So if you want to check that out, you would just go to amazon.com/shop/homeschoolunrefined. And see some of our favorite things, and then just go shopping. And that really helps support us doing this podcast. Just pays for our bills, basically.
Yep. Yeah. So we are just getting back from break. We are recording this. By the time you're listening to this, we record about 5 days early or so. So we've just come back from break. Maybe.
Yes.
Kind of. I mean, well, the new year has passed. The new year has passed.
Exactly.
So all
the celebrations are over.
Yes. And so I'm curious, Maren, how are you feeling about this? How was your break? And are you like back in full swing, or what are you doing?
Well, okay. I'm just going to tell you our vacation our, vacation. I'm putting that in parentheses because it was busy. It was a very busy time. And I loved it. And I was exhausted when we were done with everything.
Yep.
So because our kids all have birthdays during the holidays, 4 kids with birthdays, and then we had several family celebrations, and we needed more time just to be home and to tinker with our Christmas gifts that we got and spend time together as a family. So I just decided on Sunday night, this is, January 2nd, or maybe it was Monday night.
Yep. The day before you were supposed to come back.
Exactly. It was New Year's Day, actually. That night, I just decided we aren't going to start school tomorrow. I just can't. I am not emotionally and mentally there right now. Okay. It's not. And I knew our kids probably weren't ready either. So
yeah.
We just decided to have a week at home with not a lot of obligations this week. So yeah. Now we are doing several things at home this week, like reading out loud.
Yep.
And that's just because I love reading out loud and my kids love it. And it's family time and it's relaxing. So it contributes to the feeling that I'm looking for this week, which is just a more relaxed atmosphere. So that's what we're doing. And some other kids are doing some low key learning. Yep. And a lot of playing, which is learning too.
Yeah.
So how about you?
Yeah. Well, we're similar, but a bit different. I also felt like I needed a break from the break a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that's the right terminology, but I felt like I want some more downtime. I didn't want to jump fully into school. However, my kids and me, we need a routine. Like we just really are craving that routine to get that routine back. My kids are fighting a lot. I don't know if anybody else's kids fight a lot over break, but it's cold here. It's freezing. And so we're not outside as much as we'd like to be. And I think that's contributing to everything. And then the lack of routine is just contributing to them fighting a lot. Yeah. So we had to be back in a routine. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. So I would say I'm doing like a routine. Like I'm getting them up by 8, which is not that early. And we're reading aloud, kind of like you, mostly because I like that. So not because, I do think it's really important, but I think you should just do what you enjoy. Yeah.
Right.
So because I enjoy it, like you, we're doing that. And then everybody's doing their jobs like normal. Because over break, kind of those jobs slip, because there's like more jobs or less jobs or whatever. So we're back in the routine.
Different jobs.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're back in the routine of doing jobs and doing all the stuff that you have to do in the morning,
Good.
And then I kind of like set a schedule for the day, but the schedule has a lot of free time in it. So
yes, exactly.
So my kids are doing similar to your kids, probably. Lots of like playing with their Christmas toys or Christmas stuff that they got. Yeah, or, they're listening to new audiobooks.
Great.
And
check. Yeah. Reading check. That's so great.
Yeah. But I'm not like, and we started a new Brave Writer class.
Oh, so nice.
That started at the beginning of the week. So that's actually
can't wait
good.
to hear about that.
Yeah, that's actually been really good because it's been like one thing that we are doing together that's new and it's exciting. And
so sometimes it's good to just start with one thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
One thing.
Yep. One thing.
Not dive all the way in.
Yep.
That reminds me of another Friends episode.
Okay.
Oh, you guys. I hope you're okay with all these Friends references. But okay, so Rachel was talking to her sister once. I don't know. And she's like, you know what happened to the girl who did too much too soon, right?
She died.
She died. So I think about that so often when people, not that they're going to die, but I just laugh. I chuckle inside my head sometimes because I think you might be doing a little too much too soon.
Yep.
People.
Yep. You don't want to die. So
you don't want to die.
Take it from Rachel.
Exactly. She knows what she's talking about.
Yeah. So we're taking it easy. But the other thing we're doing is I'm making everybody go outside for a family walk.
Good.
Every day together.
So good.
Which everybody grumbles about. Mm-hmm. Because it's a lot of work getting all your gear on and it's really cold.
It is cold. It hurts my face to go outside.
Hurts. Yeah.
no matter whatever is touching the air outside hurts.
Whatever's
so
exposed.
much. So, exactly.
Yeah.
We're also, I decided we're going to do the 31-day read aloud challenge.
Oh, yeah.
And that's with Sarah Mackenzie's Read Aloud Revival.
Yep.
And so basically it's just for 25 out of the 31 days of January, you need to read out loud for 10 minutes per day.
Yeah.
Each kid. So that's really not tough.
That's not tough.
10 minutes a day. Not hard. So, and there has been so much evidence about just how impactful that can be to a child's reading skills. So,
you know, we should do that. I don't like to use the word should, but that sounds doable.
Doable?
Yeah, it sounds doable. One of my kids, my son, who is 9, I would call him a reluctant reader.
Yep.
He can read, but doesn't like to.
Yep.
He's reading for screen time. Just gonna say it.
Yeah,
that's what we're doing.
yeah.
And he's like been in a streak for a few weeks now where if he reads one picture book out loud, and it can be to anybody in the family or Kai, our dog,
Yes.
he gets some screen time. So he's actually been doing a lot of reading out loud. Like a lot.
Good.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
It's so good. It's so good.
Totally worth it.
Now,
I have to say,
really?
totally
You
worth
think
it.
so? Thank you. Because I feel guilty
yes.
saying that he's reading for screen time, but he is.
Well, the thing is, I think sometimes is for a reluctant reader or reluctant whatever the job is to do, their internal motivation is just never going to be enough at the beginning.
Yeah. Right.
Until they're feeling confident about it or until they're enjoying it.
Yep.
You know, a lot of things have to line up before they are internally motivated to do that. So they will.
Yeah.
He will someday.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's very into audiobooks, so he loves the story. He loves listening to a good story. It's just, I think reading it himself, it takes too long. It's choppy. He doesn't know all the words. It's not as relaxing.
Right.
You know?
And well, he's probably an audio learner.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's his strength.
Yep.
And so he has to build the other muscles. It's just not as pleasant.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
To do that.
Yeah.
I know how that feels.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the same way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely.
So yeah, we could probably do the read aloud challenge because I have one child who's already doing it basically. So
Good.
I just have to get my other 2 on board.
Great.
Are there some sort of oh yeah, you give your kids like prizes for doing it at the end.
Exactly. See,
Yeah.
It's all there's some external motivation there too.
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
Okay. So this week, you know, the week back after break or the second week back after break, you might be feeling like you should be doing more. You know, you should be probably getting more into the swing of things, should be doing math, should be doing some hardcore subjects. And you might feel like you're not doing enough, but you are doing a lot. You are doing so much. And that is what we are going to talk to you about today because you're not, like I've said lots of times, you know, I don't know any parent who's not doing enough. We're all doing so much. And so we're here to give ourselves credit for the things that we are doing.
Right. And I think sometimes what we think of, because we've had 2 pleasant weeks of, you know, not doing quote unquote work, that we think we need to hit the ground running and just, you know, work so hard this week. And I think sometimes we equate unpleasant things with work. Unpleasant things means we're working really hard on this. But actually, so much of what we do and the way we learn, I mean, we're learning so much more when it's pleasant.
Yeah.
and more enjoyable.
Right.
As much as it can be enjoyable. You know, I mean, I think that's when really the synapses are working and learning happens so much more effectively.
So if you or your kids are grumbling through something, you know, you're not really learning anything anyway.
You can do it. You can do it, and you might learn. You might learn things. It's just probably going to be a smaller percentage of learning as opposed to a super enjoyable activity.
Yeah. Okay, so Maren, can you talk to us a little bit about why we're talking about this topic? Why is it important to give ourselves credit for the things that we're doing?
Yeah, I think this came up because you and I both started realizing we need to value the work that our kids are doing, and we need to value the work that we're doing that may not look like a traditional classroom.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing so many things, and learning is happening. And because it doesn't always look like a traditional work environment, sometimes we don't give ourselves credit for the work that's actually happening. So I think we need to understand how much is actually happening.
Yep.
We need to name it, and we need to give ourselves the credit that we deserve and our kids deserve for what they're already doing.
Yes. And sometimes, like we talked about a little bit before, we referenced it. Myron and I, we can talk about the things that we're not doing, because I think that's important. It's important to say no to things and have boundaries, and to have things that you don't do, so that you can do the things that you do
Exactly.
Really
See
well.
how that comes in.
So that you can do the things that you enjoy and do well, and so that you have time for that and energy for those things. And so those are the things that we want to talk about today.
Yeah, and we can place value when we talk about giving ourselves value for the things we're doing. That gives us freedom to pick what's important to us. Is it more important to finish a math page today, or meet the emotional needs of my kids?
Yeah.
So if my child is having a meltdown over, a math lesson, is it like what? Is it really important for me to finish that lesson?
Mm-hmm.
So if we're valuing finishing a math book, if that's our top priority, then we're going to continue to go on with the math book. If our top priority is to support the emotional needs of our kids and have a better connection with our kids, we're probably going to stop that lesson and take a break, or do something together that we both enjoy doing together.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll put a puzzle together for a while.
Yep.
Or something. And that is work.
Yeah. I've made that mistake before. I'll just be honest.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
So many times.
Yeah. Where I valued the finishing of the assignment or work more than their emotional needs.
Yeah, oh yeah. And it's such a tough line to toe, I think, because we do want to finish things, and we want them to learn things. But like we were saying before, the amount of learning that's going to happen in that negative situation is probably not super high.
Right. And if you're thinking, well, what if my child breaks down every day about math? Then we're never going to get to math, or whatever the subject is. And that I would say then probably you need to re-examine what you're doing, and maybe find an alternative way, or a curriculum, or something different, a different way to teach math that works for your child.
And sometimes it's just the specific math thing that you're learning. Maybe it's fractions. Maybe your child's not ready for fractions right at this moment, even though the textbook says a child this age should be ready. Yep. Yeah, and here we go. Move on to the next thing. Well, your child might not be ready for that.
Yeah,
they might be ready for the thing next in the book. I mean, somebody is deciding the linear plan of that book, progression of that book, but they don't know your child. And so maybe your child's ready for geometry or algebra or something else.
Yep.
So you get to decide that.
Yeah.
So anyway, so all those things are you making decisions about what's important to your kids, and what's important to you. And that is work. And we need to value that.
That's all work. A good technique that I don't do, but I have thought about, I think it would fit me more than planning, is to write down what you've done for the day after you did it.
Yes.
Because I think when you plan out what you want to do for the day, and I do that, so we all, a lot of us do that. We have an idea in our mind of the things we want to get to. And, pretty much always you fall short.
Right.
And that just can make you feel like, just a failure. Because I only got to 5 of the 7 things I thought I was going to get to. Boy, I really slacked off. So I think what would be really helpful is to write down afterwards the things that you did, even if they're not traditional school type of things.
Right.
Like putting together a puzzle.
Right.
The kids put together a puzzle, or these 2 kids worked out a disagreement, or we went outside, or whatever it is. This kid worked on this app. They did this app, you know, and I think that would be really helpful to see. Then maybe after a week or a month, you can see all the things that you actually do.
Exactly. And I want to go back to one thing that you said, like, if your children worked out a disagreement and it took like a half an hour or something, that is not wasted time.
No.
Though that is a skill, that half an hour could possibly be the most important half an hour of their week.
I think about that all the time. And I tell my kids all the time, they probably are tired of me saying it, but I'm like, you know, someday, you know, right now you're working out disagreements with siblings, but someday you might have a roommate or a friend, or you might have a spouse, and you might have to work out, you are going to have to work out disagreements with them. So it's better to learn that right now with your siblings in the safe environment where you have some coaching.
Yes.
This is like probably, I mean, it's probably the most important skill. I mean, for an adult to have.
Absolutely. And they're not going to get it. I mean, the thing is, they're not going to get it right today.
Right. No.
Or next week. I mean, you know,
it's going to take lots of practice.
This is ongoing work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So important.
Yeah.
And so that's why we wanted to talk about this. We have to give ourselves credit for that, for that work.
Because that is emotionally taxing. Mm-hmm. After I watch my kids working out something or kind of try and coach them, I feel like I need a big nap.
Yeah. You know,
I probably feel like that too. But then I think to myself, okay, we just spent a half an hour on that. Now we should get back to work. Yeah, that's over. Let's get back to work. And that's not the right mentality.
I mean, they're not ready for that either.
No.
After an emotional hour or something, you know, it's just how it's so hard to transition.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
So it's good probably to have a little alone time after that, or together time, the two that were fighting, or, you know, something.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of decide in the moment a lot. I think a lot of this is giving ourselves credit for making on the minute decisions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because that's taxing.
You're always thinking on your feet.
Yeah.
You're always thinking on your feet.
Always. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough. My husband he really loves making a plan.
Yep.
And then following through on the plan.
Yep. So does mine.
And I'm the opposite.
Yep.
I'd rather not make a plan and make more decisions. Yeah, last minute. But so I think we have to, Sean and I often have to talk through. It's okay to change our plans, and we have to go with what the environment is at that moment. Mm-hmm. Because our kids, we have 4 kids, and you just never know what's going on in their little hearts and their minds and what they need. Mm-hmm. And maybe we've planned a 4-hour, you know, trip somewhere, and then, gosh, you know, what this kid really needs is like 2 hours alone in their bedroom or something.
Yeah. And that's the advantage of homeschooling.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, if they were in a traditional school setting, they would not have that flexibility. Mm-hmm. So I think because we have that flexibility, we should take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
It's a gift. It's a gift of homeschooling. So you should definitely take advantage.
Absolutely. And it can be a challenge if you're not the kind of person who is, you know, you have a hard time with that. What if you like all those plans?
Yeah.
It's hard. I think that can be very much of a challenge. It's a challenge for me, and I like doing that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Yep.
You know, so give yourself credit for it.
Right.
Doing so many emotional things. I think so much of what our culture gives us credit for is just our outward appearance and what our results of everything that we've done. And so much of our work is internal. Mm-hmm. It's emotional work. It's thinking, planning, and all that kind of stuff. And so we aren't going to get credit from the outside world for all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that is wise. Even as an adult, you know, you might have a whole internal dialogue going on, or an internal upheaval, or you might be working on something internally for years or months or whatever. And you're right, the culture is not going to give you they're not going to notice.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But that's really important. That is such important work.
It is so important.
Yeah.
And your kids will notice it, and they'll notice that you're working, you know, they'll probably notice the things that you've done to prepare your homeschool to be a positive environment for them. And they'll notice that you're working to make their siblings, work together. And they'll see that. They'll see those things.
I hope so.
I think they will. And well, actually, sometimes I just tell my kids, just so you know. I don't give them a whole list of everything I do, but I'll say, see what we did. What I decided to do for this morning was give you an hour of playtime, so you could, do all these things. Yeah. So I want to make sure my kids understand that this is different than what they would do at school, and this is good. This is good.
Yeah.
So see what's happening here. We worked for a half an hour on this problem together with your siblings, and now you get to, have 15 minutes of alone time.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we're doing that instead of math.
Right. Because otherwise they can think, well, we didn't do school today.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Just name what you did for them too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. Okay. So next we wanted to talk about exactly what are the things that we are doing.
Yes.
That you may not see at the outset. It's not like, lesson planning and things like that, or like preparing a lesson or whatever. What are some other things that are not so tangible that we are doing?
Right. So, Angela, what are some things that you're doing?
Okay. So one thing I think that's really important that I think every homeschool parent does is we prepare the environment. And that can look like so much. That's actually so much of what you are doing. And that takes a lot of energy.
It's a huge percentage.
It's a huge percentage that takes so much work and time, and you're always working on it. You're always changing things up. So some things that you are doing is like having books around, or having a particular toy, or having, an iPad, or like setting your living room up just so that it's comfy, or having an art cart, or whatever you're doing.
Yes, exactly.
All those things. And you're always thinking about it, and you're always changing it. And that is so important, because then your kids can just jump into that space and use it for their own learning.
Yes, this is completely ongoing for me too. And this is where I overthink so much too. So I research games, books, toys, clothes, that my kids would be most comfortable in. Like you said, in the environment, like what shelf should I put the art stuff on?
Yeah.
That would be most conducive to kids pulling them out, and weeding out all the art material that isn't getting used, right? Or the books that aren't getting used. Because for me right now, I'm in this mode where I'm like, I have too many books. Nobody's really
reading them,
even picking out books anymore. Yeah. So that's my next job.
Yeah. That's huge.
It's going on in my head all the time.
Yeah. Book management is huge.
It is huge.
Because especially going to the library too, and then you have like library book management, and then your home book management. That's huge.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And so is art material management. That's a lot of work. And not just the materials, then the products, their finished products. All the art management is...
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's a lot of mental energy.
Yeah, I know. And creating a space, just creating the spaces for things. And your kids change interests as they grow older, right? So things have to be pulled out and different things have to be put back in. And it's just, I feel like I almost can't turn my brain off from that kind of thinking.
Right. Yep. I agree. I am the same way.
Yeah. Okay. Good. That makes me feel better.
Yeah. Well, I would venture that every homeschool parent thinks that way, or every parent.
Yeah. Just continues to think about it.
Yeah. And I just think that takes up a lot of mental energy. And then
it really does.
And then, you're getting the materials, so you're either buying them or you're getting rid of them, or you're wanting to find a new home for them. All of that stuff is just...
Yes.
All of that stuff is a lot.
It's a full-time job.
Yeah. Another thing that I do is ask my kids what they want to learn, and then try and incorporate that into my vision.
Yes.
And I think that can be an easily overlooked thing.
Absolutely.
That is super important. Because, you'll have one kid say something really obscure, like, I want to learn about horses or something. And then you're like,
Right.
oh, crap. How am
I wasn't even thinking
how am I
about
gonna make that work?
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And then you have to try and fit that into what you're doing. And it's so important. And
Yep.
I think that takes up a lot of mental energy too.
I know. I think this morning, one of my kids said they wanted to invent some kind of electric conductor. I don't even know exactly. Honestly, I don't even totally understand it. But I feel like I need to get to the bottom of it and figure out a way to help this child create what's in their heads.
Yeah.
Because I could do math and spelling all day.
Yep.
And then, some of it would get in there. And we do need to continue to do that kind of stuff, whether they want to or not. But I feel like I do need to put some energy into this.
Right.
This is where my child is at right now and wants to learn more about this.
Right.
So much learning is going to happen.
That's so hard. If somebody said electrical,
well, I'm going to have Sean work on that one a little bit. I'm going to definitely have my husband take over probably, but
yeah,
I got to make it happen.
you do. You get to make that happen.
I get to make it happen, right?
Yeah.
instead of being in a classroom all day where it's, I think in a classroom all day for this child would be, just have to all day. It'd be real tough.
Right. It takes the joy out of learning the things that they then learn, that learning is something you have to do and not something that's fun or creative.
You get to do. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, so true. Another thing that I've been doing recently is I've been finding groups and activities for my kids to join.
Mm-hmm.
I've just decided this is our season for doing a few more things.
Yep.
And like I said, I think I talked about it on Instagram this week. It's not really necessarily my style. I like just going with the flow and not having a big schedule. I like to be at home, not have to drive kids around all day. But this is where my kids are at right now.
Yeah.
And it's a season, and we all need a few things to go do. Kids do, at least.
Yeah, I'm doing that too.
Yeah, and it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. Finding the things, and then you've got all the different kids, and they all want to go in different directions.
Different interests. Yep, exactly.
And I think I need to remember this next year because I think it's also winter. So you've the excitement of the homeschool year in the fall has kind of worn off. It's gotten cold out, and Christmas is over, and now it's like we need something to do. We cannot sit in the house for another 2 months.
Yeah. And like you said, we can't even send them outside to play for very long.
No.
Which in the summer they can be out there for hours.
Right.
So it's a tricky few months here.
Right. Right.
So,
but that looking for groups and activities and then signing them up and filling out all the forms and driving them there each week and keeping the schedule and then fitting in the other things around those things that you're doing. It's It's tricky.
And just like getting to know the adults who are in charge of those things to make sure that it's like safe and a good fit. And that's what I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just on the top of my mind. And that's tricky. And it's just such abstract things. It's not like a tangible thing that you can even write down and say, if you can just write on a piece of paper, looked up activities for my kids, check. But that, that's like a 2-week process.
Right.
Or more.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't get figured into normally it doesn't get figured into what you're doing and what they're learning. It's not a thing that's considered, but it is a big thing that you're doing.
Right. Exactly.
Yep.
It's so true. Oh, goodness.
Another thing that I feel like I'm really working on, I kind of alluded to this at the beginning, is creating routines and teaching. My kids are getting to that age now where they need to be taught, they need to be given more control over their own time management.
Very good.
And I need to be
such an important skill.
I know. They're in that middle school age, and I used to teach middle school, so I know it's really important at that time for them to learn what do I have to do this week, and kind of keep track of their stuff weekly and learn how to manage their time, each day then to get those things done each week or each month or whatever. And I feel like taking the time to do that is taking a lot of time.
Yep.
And it's not something that it's a really important skill. It's kind of like working things out with your siblings. It's really important for an adult to know how to manage their time.
Absolutely. And it should be on the forefront of learning at that age. And I think it is, like, I see that a little bit in school.
Yeah.
I'm sure you saw that a little bit too.
Yep.
But I think kids that age really probably just need more support and guidance and discussion through all that stuff. Like, you can't just give them a planner and be like, okay, here you go. You're now.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be nice?
Your
if
job.
You could just give them a planner.
And now it's your job to do all this stuff. No, I mean, it's just, it's so developed. I mean, there's so much to develop there.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. It definitely takes lots of support. And kind of like, sometimes you're giving more support. Sometimes you're stepping back. Sometimes you're giving more support and then you're stepping back for a while.
Exactly.
So knowing the nuance of that is tricky.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
It's so tough. My daughter my oldest, is kind of at that stage where she really wants, she wants more responsibility, more things to work on for school.
Yep.
And yet, it's a real struggle, I think, because she hasn't, mastered that skill at figuring out what she even wants to learn and what's going to be best for her. And so we're working on that together right now. And it is, it's like the top of our list is what we discuss almost every day.
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge. And that's not that's not a subject. That's not a traditional subject that you can just check off.
Another thing that I consciously do, because I think it's really important, that might not normally happen, is I make time for what Julie Bogart calls juicy conversations.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important to not cut those kind of conversations off. When somebody asks a good question, we all chime in and say, what if this happened? Or what if that happened? Or why do you think that? Or, those kind of conversations are such great learning experiences. And I think I have to give myself credit. We all do.
Yep.
To that we're doing those things.
Right.
We're having those kind of conversations.
And for being flexible for when that happens, to not shut it down and keep going with what you had originally planned.
Yes, exactly. And for counting that as learning.
Yeah, totally.
Yep.
We had that this morning. We were reading out loud, and I have a child who loves to have juicy conversations. That would be what he would want to do all the time. And so he interrupts with a question that's sort of related, but then not really. And then that leads to so many other questions. And it was really hard for me to to keep answering or keep having the conversation, and all the siblings were involved. I don't know why that was so hard for me. It was, but I was just thinking, oh, we got to get back to what we're doing. But then I was also thinking, no, this is a juicy conversation. This is so important. It's okay to keep going. So I just think managing that and being okay and being flexible is hard to do.
It's so hard. I often want to text you during the day and say, my kids talk so much. I think our biggest arguments are about who was talking.
Oh, really?
And who got interrupted. Because our kids all have so much to say all the time. And it's real hard for me to want to stop that.
Yeah.
And they do need to learn how to take turns talking.
They do. Yep.
It's an important skill, which they have not mastered. I will just say that. But it's if they're all talking all the time about all their ideas in their head and making connections with the books and thinking, if I were in that book, I would do this or anything like that. That is the best learning.
It is.
It's hard to sometimes, though.
It's hard to manage it.
It's hard to manage it.
Yep.
But good job for doing it.
Yep. You too.
Thanks.
The last thing that I wanted to say is that I think we need to give ourselves credit for all the real life stuff that we have to do each day. Whether you're homeschooling or not, you are probably grocery shopping. You're probably doing laundry. You're probably going to dentist appointments. You're probably shoveling your driveway after it snowed. You're probably,
making 20 phone calls.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like keeping up on your correspondence.
Right. Another friend's quote.
Yep. And all those things are important skills for kids to learn, whether we're homeschooling or not. They are very important. It's important for them to see us doing it and for us to get them involved in that. Because at some point, when they get older, they're going to have to do those things on their own. And you want to make sure they know that. And I know all of you parents know this. And I know all of you parents are probably doing a great job at this.
Right.
But I think we can see those as things that we have to do so that we can get to school. You know, or like, I didn't get to much school today because I had to like prepare dinner and I had to go grocery shopping and then I had to go to the post office and then it snowed. So we had to shovel. And so I didn't get to much school today. And I can fall down that trap too. But I think we need to give ourselves credit for showing our kids what the real life work is about and involving them in that. I think that is huge.
Amen. So good. And I think you just brought it home there.
Yeah.
Our kids are always learning.
Yep.
Always. So whether you have something planned for them to do or if it's something that's just happening in your life, they're learning from it.
Yep.
They're learning. So you can't stop that train.
Right.
That's happening.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So, and when your kids get to watch you do those things, I just think the chance of them being a successful adult is much higher.
Yeah.
They're seeing you be a successful adult.
Right. Those are the things I want my kids to master or not master. Yeah. Get, have experience with, get kind of good at is like the real life stuff, and then like having good conversations with people and working out disagreements with people. Those are the things that I want them to be practiced at by the time they are on their own.
I also just want to encourage everybody to trust what you're doing. And if you do write down the things that you've done all day, or if you don't, just trust that so many things about what you're doing is good. Going to the library is so good. Mm-hmm. Bringing your kids to an event is great. Staying home and letting your kids play is so good.
Yep.
I mean, so many things that you do that you think are so minor and so unimportant are wonderful.
Yes.
And great for your kids. Yep. And you just need to trust that that the learning is happening.
Right.
Trust that what you're doing is good and trust that what your kids are doing is good.
Yep. Love it. Good job.
Thanks. I think that's probably about it, Angela. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No. I think we should move on to loving this week.
Yes. So, Angela, what are you loving this week?
Well, I've read a book. So over break, I get to read lots of books, which is so exciting to me because I feel like I'm
so great
getting to catch up. But one book that I had been reading that I just finished was Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie.
Wow, good job.
Thanks. So I'd been wanting to read this for a long time. It's been out for a couple years, but this is a Nigerian author, and she's writing. It's a fiction. It's a novel about this woman who grows up in Nigeria, and then she moves to America, and then she goes back to Nigeria. So it's just about her experience. It's about a lot about race, and I loved it. The writing is beautiful. Wonderful. The story is beautiful. And I learned a lot. So,
great.
Loved it. You should probably listen to it on audio. I know you like to listen. Yeah, I'm sure you can get it on audio.
Good.
But our friend, we have a mutual friend, Marin, our mutual friend Lisa, told us a long time ago to listen to this or to read it. And she always gives great book recommendations.
She does.
Or maybe we just have similar taste. I don't know. But I knew it would be good because she said it was. And so, yeah.
Well, it's a high quality book.
Yeah.
If she, when she says so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
it won some awards. I don't know which ones.
Awesome.
The Pulitzer or something. Don't quote me on that, but
I'm putting that on my list right now because I have a few credits.
Oh, yeah.
Burning a hole in my Audible pocket.
This would be great for your Audible credits.
I can never hold on to those credits very long.
Yeah. Okay. So, Marin, what are you loving this week?
I am loving, it's a website and it's also an app and it's called Thumbtack.
Oh, okay.
We just started using it. It's a place to find services.
Okay.
And I've used it for so many things. We first used it, I think, for a few lawn cleanup things like leaf cleanup. We just said we need somebody to clean up our leaves. We just didn't have time to do it before the snow was going to fall. And so we were like, So we just put our request in there. It's so easy. I hate calling people,
Yeah. So wait a minute. This is people in your area who are ready to work?
In the Twin Cities area, yes. So you just put in your zip code and it's really just your city, your area.
Awesome.
Yep. And then you get bids from usually 4 to 6 people. And some of them are professionals. I think for the most part, they're professionals. And then there's some people that are just like, people willing to do the job.
Wow.
They just want to do something.
So you say like, I need my yard raked.
Yes. And you'll say it's going to be like a 2 to 3 hour job. And they ask you exactly the right questions.
Yeah.
So the person knows exactly what's expected. And then you get 3 or 4 bids. And you get to pick the one all online. It's so great. You never have to call anybody.
Wow.
And then they come and do it. And then it's just the easiest way that I've ever found to hire somebody to do something.
That's amazing. So what have you used it for?
So we've used it for, like I said, leaf cleaning. And then again, at the end of the year, at the end of the season, we did some extra yard work and just had some brush that needed it to get taken away. And so you just
hired somebody to take it away.
Yeah. Yes. So we did a lot of the work and then they just took it away. That was great.
Wow.
We found a guy to get rid of our mice in our house.
Wow.
So we had a few mice.
So
once it got cold.
You didn't call...
I didn't call one person.
This sounds amazing.
It is amazing. And then I just put in a request for a music teacher because I'm not sure I'm even going to do this. We're not sold on doing music lessons right now, but I just wanted to get a feel for what's available.
Okay.
For these music lessons. So I put in, I wanted to look up cello teachers in the area. Okay. And I can even put, we're just looking right now. This is not a serious inquiry. It's just so they know.
Yep.
We're just looking around. This is our initial look. So, we got 4 bids of people in the neighborhood.
So there are 4 cello teachers who are on Thumbtack.
Yeah.
In your area.
In our area.
That's amazing.
And some people come here and some people said they would come here and some people said they could do it via Skype. And, so that was all just, and they do it so quickly too. I mean, I think we get bids within 2 or 3 hours.
Because they probably have like a search set up for if somebody types in cello teacher to let them know.
Yes. We also looked up a snow plow place. So I just put in, we need a snow plow and got some great bids. I mean, it's just so great because you don't have to talk to anybody. I just don't have time to talk to people.
And it all comes to you. So if you need a snowplow person, you're not Googling all the snowplow places and then making all the phone calls and getting all the bids.
How much do you cost? How often will you come out? Or, all this stuff. It's all right there.
I can't believe I haven't heard of this. It must be not that new if a lot of people are on it.
Well, I don't know. I think I found it by just doing a search once for, maybe it was the leaf.
Yeah.
A leaf service place. And then I think one of the top search results was this Thumbtack.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll try this out.
Nice.
Amazing.
Nice. I like it.
Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for listening to our episode, and we hope you feel encouraged and feel like you are actually doing a lot, because we know you are. You are working so hard, and so it's good to just give yourself credit for that. So good job, all of you. You can find us on social media. We are on Facebook and Instagram at Homeschool Unrefined. Or you can go to our website, which is homeschoolunrefined.com, and you can find show notes there. You can listen to the episode there. You could also find our show notes in your podcast app. And we will see you next week.
Thanks for listening. Homeschool Unrefined was created by Maren Gorse and Angela Sizer. Thanks to Gambler's Daughter for providing the music for our show. You can find Gambler's Daughter at facebook.com/gamblersdaugghtermusic.